So we are going to recreate this in After Effects. Okay, we're going to recreate this in Adobe After Effects. So let's go to the tutorial. Alright, welcome to another day of our tutorial. Today we're going to recreate the DLS soccer After Effects designed, and for us to do that, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to create a new composition. So to create a new composition, just tap over here, new composition, okay, or just press Ctrl+N on your keyboard, Ctrl+N, then this will appear. Now I'm going to name this composition my base, and then for the size, I'm going to select the standard size 1920 times 180. The frame rate is 24, and then the duration is just 5 seconds. All right, after this new composition has been created, okay, we have this new composition created. Now the next thing, you're going to right click in this area and go to new, and then make a new solid layer. So for your new solid layer, let's name this new solid layer, let's give it a nice name. Now I'm going to name this white BG. It's going to be my white background, okay, it's going to be a white BG, and then I right click on this area and go to new, and then I create another solid layer. So for this layer, I'm going to call it the gradient BG. Okay, I'm going to call it the gradient, sorry, not JB, the gradient BG. Now after this new gradient BG has been created, now we're going to do something over here. For your gradient BG, okay, you can go to effects and presets and look for the gradient layer, but I have this over here, so I'm going to look for my 4 color gradients. I'm going to use a 4 color gradient. You can choose to use a 2 color gradients to do this, but I use 4. Okay, so the yellow layer, I'm going to select this color, and then for a green color, I'm going to select this and make it blue. Okay, so now I'm going to use this to control my gradients. Okay, this movement, this point is over here, I drag them around, and then it blends in nicely like I want them to. Do you see the position where I put them? You can place yours also in that similar position. Okay, click here for them to come back, and then just position them rightly, position them rightly on your After Effects page. Okay, now I'm done working with my gradient BG. Okay, so that's my gradient BG. Now come to composition, and then come to composition settings. Okay, Control K will give you the composition settings. Okay, now with the composition settings, you're going to change this to 4500 pixels. Okay, you are doing this for your gradient BG. Okay, so that becomes, no, you change the composition settings for the whole base. Okay, so now you extend your gradient BG to cover the whole of your base layer, okay, or your base composition. And now the white composition, let's turn this off so that we see our height. We're going to make our white composition cover the full page. All right, so now meaning our gradient BG and the white BG both becomes 4500 pixels. Now for our gradient BG, you're going to create a new max layer on our white BG. So a new max layer. Now when a new max layer, you select the pen tool after you create the max layer, and then you're going to select this point of the white BG and then drag down so that you have this diagonal on your white BG. Now this diagonal has been created nicely. Still with your pen tool, you're going to click this portion of your layer, and then you drag up to create this nice diagonal that we have over here. Take note, you're not using very accurate measurements over here. Okay, if you want very accurate measurements over here, that's not how you go about it, but then we want to produce this accurately as we can. Now with our gradient BG, you're going to do the same thing. We'll create a new mask, and then you're going to select this portion of our gradient BG, then we drag down. When we drag down, you see that a nice diagonal has been created. Okay, we want it to fall on top of it, so now it has fallen on top of it nicely. You drag over here for it to fall on top of it nicely. Still with your pen layer, you drag over here nicely. You drag it over here so that it falls on it nicely. Now we see that it hasn't fallen on it correctly. You're going to correct that very soon. Now let's do that right now, okay, so that we don't forget about it. Now coming to your gradients BG, you're going to perfect it and make sure that everything lies on it perfectly. Now with your gradients BG, you're going to resize it. We want our gradients BGs to be smaller than our white BG. So upon resizing, you see that the edges are not angled the same. Okay, you're going to work on that later on, but then make sure the size becomes a bit smaller than the white BG. So our gradient layer smaller than the white BG, we click on our gradient layer. Now we see our pen tool over here. Now we're going to position it nicely so that the angle is formed and same as that of the white layer. So we do that, we work on it, we do some adjustments, make sure that everything is aligned perfectly like how we want it. Now coming back to our projects, we are going to create a new composition. Now we call this one the main composition. Now the size of this composition is going to be start of the standard screen, like 1920 pixels and 24 frame rate. Okay, now we're going to drag our base composition into our main composition. So I'm going to show you something. Let's drag this base composition to the side, and yes, you see that the diagonal sides of the base composition are here at the edges. They are there at the edges. Okay, they are already there. They are already there. But before I do anything, I'm going to create a new composition out of my gradients layer. So I pre-compose my gradients layer. Over there you see pre-compose. Okay, so you select pre-compose. Now when you are pre-composing, let me make my pre-compose a gradients page the same name. We make sure to move all attributes into the new composition. We move all of them and then we click OK. Now when we click OK, we're going to do the same thing for the white PJ. We are going to pre-compose the white PJ. So we tap on pre-compose, then we move everything into the white PJ. Okay, we'll have to rename the white PG layer so that it still maintains as white PG. Now come back to your main composition, now drag your gradient PG into your main composition. Okay, take the base layer away if you haven't done that, and then drag the white composition beneath the gradient composition. After you've done that, you come back to the pen tool. Okay, the typing tool, I mean, you come to the type tool, and then with your type tool, you're going to select and then just type in DLS. Type in DLS over here. Now let me make this one bigger so that it looks great. Good, that's about 250 pixels. Okay, now I'm going to center it nicely on my page. I center it nicely, I make sure it's in the center, and then for the font I'm using TWCNMT. Okay, so I'm going to extend the text so that the text looks a bit widened, because we want to type something underneath it. And for what to type underneath it, I need to type Dreamly Soccer underneath it, but I'm going to create a new text layer. Okay, so I'm going to create a new text layer over here, and then I'll just type Dream League Soccer. Let me type it out very well. Dream League Soccer. All right, now because of the original, you have to position it directly underneath it so that it falls directly underneath it. Okay, so our Dream League Soccer, you want to make sure that text and the font size matches and falls underneath it directly. I can see there's a spelling mistake there. I have to correct it. I have to correct the spelling mistake. But first I have to position my text layer, my DLS text layer, and then I'm going to correct some things real fast over here by extending this text so that it widens a little bit. And then for this one, I'm going to correct the spelling, and then yes, I think the spelling is okay. So spelling is okay, I'm going to come here and really okay, I'm going to push it right on top of the DLS, and then I'm going to straighten my text over here for it. I'm going to widen it, try adjust, use this period to adjust your text very well so they are in line. Okay, yes, make sure that they are in line, make sure that it falls directly under it. Oh, oops, yes, I think it's okay for now, falls directly under it. Now your DLS texts, okay, you're going to pre-compose both of them together, pre-compose it together, and let's name this composition text comp. Let's name it text comp, and then both of them are put into one composition so we can control both of them at the same time. Now select all of your layers. Okay, select all of your layers and then press P. Okay, press P for all your layers. Now you're going to adjust the position of all the layers. Okay, so at your first, you're going to create keyframe. Okay, keyframes on position. So you come over here and then add this keyframe. This is the first keyframe, but then at the when just about to start, we want it to be far away on the left. So you're going to drag all our compositions to make sure that they are all on the extreme right. They are also right instead, right of my screen. They are all extreme right of the screen. So quickly I'm going to drag all of them to be extreme right. I'm going to extremely drag all of them. Okay, so I'm going to drag all of them to be extreme right. Now after dragging them all, I'm going to deselect all of them and drag the white, okay, so that the white pops out first all the time. You see that our animation comes out clearly. Okay, our white pops out first, and then the animation becomes a bit smoother. It becomes smoother. Good. Now that we are done with that, we're going to select all these layers. Okay, we want it to remain on this screen. So you're going to copy this keyframe and paste it. Copy, Control C, Control V, click, Control C, Control V, and then we paste all these keyframes. After doing that, you're going to move some keyframes forward. Press the shift and the down key on your keyboard, on your page down key. Okay, shift and page down, and then you're going to get to this place where we are going to create a new keyframes. So for this keyframe, we're going to drag all of them to the extreme left till we are almost out of there, and then we let our whites go inside a bit. Okay, so now it's going to look something like this. Yes, I think this is great. This is great. But at the end of the whole screen thing, I want our whites to vanish. I want everything to vanish, in fact. Okay, so I'm going to create a new keyframe, set of keyframes for that. The white should pop out a bit. The white should pop out a bit. Good. So you're going to animate only the white key BG for it to pop in so that the animation becomes a bit smoother. So let's replay everything. Good. This is looking as we expected for it to look. Now we're going to select all these keyframes and pull it back a bit. We want our animation to stay on screen for a while before leaving. We want it to stay on the screen for a while before leaving. Now that we've done that, let's recheck. Animation looks a bit weird. We're going to come here and then we're going to open a graphiato, and then for your graph we are going to move this. Okay, move it in a bit so that it looks a bit better. It looks great. Good. So you see it's slicing slow at first, and then it increases its speed. It slides in with a slow speed and increases. So now before it leaves our screen, we're going to modify the graphiato over here. This time around we'll do it on this side, so we modify the graphiato a bit. Let's see how it looks. Comes in, goes out. Good. Now the last part looks a bit weird. We have to work on it. And then our text is not really centered in the middle of the screen. We would work on that too. Now coming back here to our text composition. We're going to center our text composition. Okay, we're going to use the align layers. So just use these align layers to center it. I think because of two different texts, it's not really centering very well. So we have to manually adjust this one so that it is right in the center of our screen. Very good. Now that we've adjusted for it to be in the center of our screen, we'll come back to the main layer, to the main comp, and then for our main comp, you see that our text has now been aligned perfectly. Alright, let's replay our animation to see now that we are done with everything. Good, let's play it. Good. That is our animation. Alright, I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and if there's any animation that you want me to do, just comment it in the comment section. I'll be working on several of these popular animations that are around, ranging from any kind of animation that you want me to do with After Effects. Just let me know in the comment section and I'll work things out for you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.